You're going to live in someone else's shadow forever. I looked up at her, Brianna, standing in the doorway of the living room, waving the bill in her hand, eyebrows furrowed. What did you say? I raised an eyebrow lazily. Some cornflakes fell back into the bowl, and I scooped them up. Don't play innocent, Linda. You know what you did. She stepped inside, her heels clicking on the floor, the shoulder of her dress slightly rolled up. I slowly set down the bowl and looked at her. What did I do? You'll have to be specific. Mom stood behind her, arms crossed over her chest, her voice sharp as a blade. Linda, this time, you really went too far. Brianna pointed at me. You ruined my wedding. Do you know what that means? I shrugged and walked to the window, sunlight hitting my face. I'm just letting you know that I'm not your ATM. ATM? She almost screamed. Exactly, I said, turning back with the bowl in my hand. You've always assumed I wouldn't fight back, haven't you? She froze, eyes wide. Linda. I walked back to the couch, set the bowl down. Yes, Brianna. You heard me right. Mom bit her lip, searching for the right words. You're being selfish. I looked up, calm. No. I'm just done being used. Brianna's hands trembled slightly as she held the bill, her breathing quick. Do you know what this means? I smiled faintly, voice low. Yeah, the beautiful days are over. Linda, you're being so selfish. You actually, she shouted. I didn't do anything, I interrupted, calm. Nothing? You ruined my wedding. Do you realize that? You've thrown everything away. She jumped up, pointing at me, the sunlight glinting off the white sheet in her hands. I put down the bowl and stood slowly. The air in the room seemed to freeze like cement. Sunlight from the window stretched her shadow long across the floor. You shouldn't use people just because you know they won't fight back, I said evenly. Her mouth opened slightly, like she'd been hit by a rock. She thought I'd plead, retreat, be her buffer like before. I didn't. I stood there, looking at her like she was a familiar yet foreign enemy. This happened when I was 31 in Chandler, Arizona. I'd always been the kind of person who could be invisible. No one truly understood what I did in the finance department at work, yet the office fell apart when I was gone. That was my sense of security. At home I was passive, ignored, a resource to be tapped. Brianna, 28, radiant, confident, magnetic, married with a flashy presence, always overshadowing me. I had grown used to the difference. Growing up, she got away with mistakes effortlessly, while I cleaned up the mess. Over time, I stopped being a sister and became her bank account, her emergency fund. That night, my banking app alerted me. $12,034.88 charged to wedding reception services. I slumped on the couch, my mind empty. Looking closer, no fraud. It was Brianna. Years ago, she had borrowed my card just for a day, spending a few $dozen. I never changed the info, assuming I'd rarely use that account. 10 years later, she still had access. I called her, no answer. Texted, nothing. 10 minutes later, my phone lit up. Don't act surprised. You don't even have a life to spend it on. I laughed quietly to myself. The beautiful days are over. I stayed up all night. I called every vendor, read out transaction numbers, canceled contracts, explained the payments weren't authorized. By 3:30 a.m., my account was locked, disputes filed. By sunrise, every single contract for the wedding was void. At 7:42 a.m., the family group chat exploded. Brianna, Trevor, mom, relatives, messages like fireworks. I didn't respond. At 7:50, mom called. I ignored it. By 8:40, they were at my door, red-faced, shouting, blaming, accusing me of jealousy. I simply looked at them and said calmly, you shouldn't use people just because you know they won't fight back. I closed the door. The couch remained my peace. In the weeks that followed, I completely shut down my silent services. The family group chat was muted and deleted. Brianna's backup credit card was canceled. Mom's automatic utility payments stopped. I didn't respond to any messages. I focused entirely on myself. For the first time, I felt true freedom. I upgraded my life. A new mattress, tossed old furniture, evening walks, pottery classes, solo wine tastings. I even opened a second bank account, secret from everyone. They began to panic. Brianna was logged out of Hulu. Mom warned about electricity bills. Adam sent confused messages. No one understood. I didn't answer. I just lived my life. Silence was more powerful than anger. A few days later, tentative gestures came. Brianna liked a photo, Mom sent a heart. Adam reacted with an emoji. I kept my pace. Finally, Brianna showed up, handing me a court document. The wedding venue was suing her over a bad review. She wanted me to testify, to say it was a misunderstanding. I looked at her nervous eyes and shook my head. No. She froze, even trembling. That was the moment she realized her safety net was gone. In the following days, they tried accessing my old account again. Bank alerts made me laugh. I moved funds, set up Voice ID, multi-factor verification, fully locked it down. I also found the stack of old OUs they'd left. Little notes, Venmo reminders, promises to pay. All tucked in a sealed envelope. I held them, no anger, no desire for revenge. It wasn't about collecting. It was proof that I wasn't crazy, I'd been used, and now it was over. 2 weeks later, a new group chat appeared. Family. Brianna initiated. Want to go on a trip? Just the 4 of us, no strings attached. Adam followed. We're serious. No guilt, no demands, just time together. Mom. You deserve better. Let us try. I stayed silent overnight. The next day, fine. I'll choose the place and time. Any old patterns, we stop. They agreed. We went to Bend, Oregon. Rented a cabin surrounded by pine trees. Just quiet and alone. No quick trips, no escape plans, just presence. At first, silence, cautious glances, careful gestures. Brianna looked at me with genuine respect for the first time. Mom didn't nag. Adam helped without speaking of the past. Slowly, the air found a new rhythm. Cautious, real, mutually respectful. We cooked together, played cards, laughed without sarcasm. Brianna snorted from laughter. Mom poured wine gently. Adam burned garlic bread and got teased for it. Hours of ordinary life felt warmer than any lavish wedding. On the last day, Brianna asked, "Can we be close again?" I answered, "I don't know. It's not about closeness. It's about respect and consistency." She nodded. Fair. Back home, I didn't rush into old habits. I booked a solo trip to Barcelona. 10 days, no notifications, no explanations. Brianna liked a post, Mom sent a heart, Adam gave a thumbs up. No pressure, no guilt, just freedom. I realized it wasn't about apologies or family structure. It was about putting myself at the center. All the humiliation, exploitation, and silent endurance were finally ended by my own actions. I was no longer a buffer. I was a boundary. I was calm, powerful, in control. And those who thought they controlled my life? Now they could only watch from the sidelines, through screens, bills, travel plans, helpless, fearful, because I had finally claimed my place.